Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're unpacking a truly wild case study in manipulation and economics. We're looking at the bunker profiteers. Basically, what we're analyzing here is a scripted Minecraft narrative orchestrated by two creators known as Carry and Dorbin. Now, don't let the blocky gaming environment fool you. This story, it's an absolute masterclass in behavioral psychology and the dark mechanics of a protection racket. We're going to break down the exact anatomy of this virtual heist and show you how a completely fabricated disaster was turned into a literal goldmine. So here is the big question. How do you convince an entire village to willingly hand over all their wealth? Think about it. You can't just politely ask them for it, right? And stealing it outright? Way too much risk. To get people to voluntarily empty their virtual pockets, you have to completely alter their reality. You literally have to make them believe that giving you all their stuff is their absolute only chance at survival. Let's look at exactly how Carry and Dorbin pulled this off right out of the gate, starting with the smoking ruins of their very own community. Which brings us to part one, the manufactured crisis. Now, what exactly is a manufactured crisis? Well, it's a disastrous event intentionally created or staged to manipulate a population, usually for political or financial gain. In this story, Carry and Dorbin didn't just sit around waiting for a disaster to strike. Nope, they orchestrated one. They staged a massive, entirely fake missile attack that completely wiped out the village. Boom. Just like that, in a single instant, they replaced a peaceful, happy existence with desperate, absolute panic. And, by controlling the disaster itself, they perfectly positioned themselves to control the fallout. And that sets up their brilliant, frankly diabolical, three-step business model. Step one. Destroy the village. We just saw that with a fake missile attack. Step two, miraculously offer the absolute only safe haven available to these terrified survivors. And step three, charge exorbitant fees for that safety. Guys, it is a textbook protection rocket, just modernized for a digital landscape. They created the problem, specifically so they could sell the solution. Moving right along to section 2, the bunker monopoly. Welcome to the high-tech military bunker, where safety is strictly pay-to-play. Through all the chaos and smoke of that destroyed village, Carry and Dorbin led the displaced survivors straight to a fully prepped, ultra-secure military bunker. And guess who completely controlled the doors? Yeah, Carry and Dorbin. This wasn't some charity operation. It was a highly calculated trap. Actually, scratch that. It was a gold mine. By being the sole providers of shelter in a world they literally just destroyed, they ensured that survival was completely pay-to-play. The survivors had zero other options, making them the ultimate captive audience. So the crucial point here is that they didn't just charge a little cover fee at the door. They completely monopolized survival. They hit these displaced villagers with absolutely exorbitant entry fees just to walk inside. And once they were in, the exploitation didn't stop there. They sold wildly overpriced food rations and charged an arm and a leg for just basic amenities. They essentially built a closed economy where every single ounce of wealth flowed straight to the top, directly to them, extracting maximum value from the community's sheer desperation. All right, on to section 3, maintaining the illusion. Now let's look at the disconnect here. In column A, what the villagers saw, deadly military invasions, mortal combat, just a constant state of unrelenting danger right outside the bunker doors. But over in column B, the actual reality, staged actors, highly coordinated special effects, and absolutely zero real threat. Carry and Dorbin were basically running a massive theatrical production. They used all these special effects to simulate combat, purely to keep the adrenaline and the panic sky high. That way, the villagers would never even think to question the necessity of their super expensive bunker lifestyle.
And this quote really just hits the nail on the head. To keep their customers paying, the danger had to feel real. These ongoing fake invasions weren't just for dramatic effect, they were a strict economic necessity. Think about it. If the villagers ever started feeling safe, the cash flow stops, right? The illusion of danger was literally the primary product that Carry and Dorbin were selling.
Which brings us to section 4, the grand finale. So let's look at how fast this scam escalated. Day 1, we have the initial staged missile attack. By day 15, they're running these routine fake invasions just to keep the fear alive. But day 30 is the absolute masterpiece, the epic boss battle. They fabricated this massive, supposedly authentic confrontation against what they framed as America's army, complete with a giant boss. This wasn't just some minor skirmish. It was designed to feel like an apocalyptic, world-ending threat. A threat that only the bunker, and of course, Carry and Dorbin's heroic leadership could possibly save them from. And the result of this epic fake battle? Nothing short of psychological mastery. By heroically saving the villagers from this massive, totally fabricated threat, they achieved absolute total trust. It was Stockholm Syndrome, completely by design. This grand finale successfully manipulated the entire community to the point where they were profoundly grateful to the exact same people who had destroyed their homes and were systematically robbing them blind. The trap was permanently set.
This leads us to our final part, Section 5, Profiting from Panic. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer financial genius of their scheme, a 100% profit margin. Because the initial crisis, the daily invasions, that massive boss battle, it was all entirely fabricated using game mechanics and clever staging. There was zero actual risk to the creators. They completely emptied the villagers' pockets while putting absolutely none of their own real assets on the line. I mean, it was pure, unadulterated profit, born entirely from manufactured panic. Looking at the breakdown, it's pretty wild. 0% real danger. The whole shebang was built on a complete illusion. You've got 80% of the pie made up of fabricated fear, which leads directly into that remaining 20%, the absolute financial extraction of those poor villagers. Carry and Dorbin ultimately walked away with massive financial gains simply because they understood one core, uncomfortable truth. Fear is an incredibly powerful lever for moving wealth. So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought today. In the story of Carry and Dorbin, fear was without a doubt the ultimate currency. They didn't steal the villagers' wealth, right? They just terrified them into handing it over with a smile and a thank you. As you step away from this explainer today, I want you to really consider the real-world behavioral psychology we've just unpacked. If an entire community's reality can be manipulated so completely, so easily, ask yourself, if fear is the ultimate currency, how easily can your trust be bought? Thanks so much for joining us as we explore the anatomy of this remarkable virtual heist. See you next time.